What's going on, guys? We are Tottenham TV here, back with another opposition preview, and it's a big one. We have the North London derby on Sunday, 4:30 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and it's the first North London derby at the new ground with fans in the stadium. We have Lee Judges here with us to preview the game. How are you doing, Lee? You all right?
Yeah, not too bad. Thank you very much. Not too bad. Not too bad.
Yeah. It wasn't actually too long ago that I saw you. Saw the AFTV special fans debate. That's gone out over the past few days. It was a bit of fun, wasn't it? But there's a lot of people there trying to get their opinions in.
There's never fun when Spurs fans are around. Let me tell you.
Well, especially as we're top of the league, that's probably not fun at all.
Well, that's even worse. It's bad enough as it is, but with you being top of the league, it's even worse.
Yeah, I hear that. But I don't know whether it's clickbaity titles or whatnot, but I've seen on AFTV over the past couple days, that they seem a bit more confident, maybe that they could get a result, especially after the Europa League win. I know most Arsenal fans are kind of not that confident going into this game. I know yourself are not that confident, but do you think there could be some joy for you on Sunday? Where do you think the game could be won?
Listen, there's always a chance. When Arsenal were at their best, I never look forward to these games because there's always that chance that you could turn up and anything can happen. I've never really enjoyed them. I think now you've slightly got the upper hand on us at the moment. I don't enjoy them as much now. So listen, it'd be a real tough game. I think that the advantage. I tell you where the advantage is the home one. I always say, when I feel a lot more confident when Arsenal are playing at home against Spurs than when I do go away from home. And history tells you that the advantage is with the home side. So I look at it from that point of view. It's going to be tough. I also think that what's going to make it even tougher. I think there was a big lift for Arsenal on Thursday night, be it in the Europa League, because there were some sort of fans there, and for the players to have your fans, even if it's 2,000, it must make slightly a difference. So, typical Spurs, got it all going for them, and they get their fans in for this game as well. So, it's a bit of a gutter because I think this is the second time we played there now. Obviously, we're not being able to go. It's one of the great games to be involved in.
So you think it make a big difference for Spurs having fans in the stadium there on Sunday? You think that's giving a lift?
I do. I think it give Arsenal a little bit of a lift on Thursday. Listen, if you play any sort of sport, the bigger the crowd or there's a crowd there, it does give you that little bit more of a lift. And certainly when you look at it for 2,000 fans, you might say, "Oh, it's only 2,000 fans." But when you've been playing for 9 months without no fans, any sort of little indication of fans is going to be a lift. So I think that it will be a little boost for Tottenham tomorrow night. I do think that. Not that you need too many more boosts, but you've got one there,
There's been a bit of talk going into this game. Which manager is under more pressure to get a result? Because some argue Mourinho's under more pressure because we're top of the league and we're expected to win this game. Some argue Arteta's more under pressure because he really needs to get a result to turn around the poor form, or his job could be in trouble. Where do you kind of sit on that?
Well, I can't see Mourinho being under any sort of pressure, if I'll be honest. You know what I mean? I get it that a lot of fans didn't want him in the first place, but listen, results change people's opinions, and that's as simple as it is, and why Spurs are winning games, the fans will tolerate whatever's going, and for Arteta, I think there's definitely a little bit of pressure on that. Because I'll be honest, I didn't see Arsenal being as poor as what they were at the beginning of the season. I didn't think that we'd be challenging for the title or anything this season, but I didn't think that we'd be where we are at this moment in time. And it's not been so much the results, but you're expected probably to lose to Man City away, Liverpool away, but it's the performances, the way we've played. It's not been good, and I know it was only Europa League on Thursday, but that's the best we've played all season. So,
not too well. But yeah. Look, a lot of Arsenal fans, I think, especially beginning of the season, from what I gather anyway, from what I see, were quite positive going into it. Thinking after the FA Cup win, thinking of a challenge of top four. Even the bookies had Arsenal as favourites for top four at the beginning of the season. But if you look at the fact of the matter, in Arteta's first 30 league games, he's had worse results than Emre's last 30 league games, which he got sacked on the back of. So has Arteta really improved Arsenal? I want to know your opinion on that.
Well, on statistic-wise, you'd probably say no. But, listen, Arsenal over the last 3 or 4 years can beat anybody on their day. They're more of a cup side. But to do it consistently in the league is difficult. And that's where we've been struggling. So on our day, we can beat anybody. And I think Mikel Arteta, if I'll be honest, wouldn't expect us to be where we are. I think... Listen, the league. We're going to look on the league form at this moment in time. I'm going to give him a little bit of sympathy, a little bit of lead time, because he didn't get the players in that he wanted, and probably a few of the players he wanted out. And until he does that, then I think that we're going to be where we are. Football, as you know as well, is about being consistent, and that's where Arsenal are not. And that's why Arsenal are dangerous tomorrow. Them, like your head or your heart will tell you, they've got no chance tomorrow. But there is all that way that they can turn up and perform. This is the same sort of players, well, probably even better players this season with the arrival of Gabriel and Partey than the team last season. And they went and beat Manchester City in the cup semi-final, and also like Chelsea in the final, and beat Liverpool in the league. So they're capable of doing it, but they can't do it consistently. And that's the problem with Arsenal over for many seasons now, and that's the frustration that us fans have got at this moment in time.
Yeah, I can understand that. And you say, Arteta needs kind of his signings, and he needs the players that he needs to get in through the door and the players he needs out. But the question is, will he get the time? Because the way the things are going at the moment, no disrespect, but you are 14th in the league and 3 consecutive home defeats. How much more of this kind of form can he kind of get away with? Well,
yeah, exactly, and that's why it's got to turn around quickly. If things don't go our way tomorrow, 6 defeats, in 11 games is just not acceptable. And we're not stupid enough to know that, and I think Mikel Arteta is not stupid enough to know that. I think what will happen, regardless of tomorrow and regardless of what happens in December, I think that he'll be given some funds in January to sort it out. And if things after January continue like they are, then I think he's going to be under immense pressure. Because I think, you're right what you're saying. He has improved the team. But I look at what Tottenham have done and Mourinho. He's got what he's wanted. He's got what he wanted in the summer. That's the difference at this moment in time between Arteta and Pochettino, Mourinho. He obviously went to Daniel Levy, and he said he wanted this and he wanted that, and he's got it. And Arsenal haven't. Why Arsenal haven't got that, I think, is not because of the spending powers or anything like that. It's because, we couldn't get rid of the players that we wanted to get rid of, and I think that once that's done, probably next season, I think Arsenal will be a different proposition. And also then there'd be massive pressure on Arteta if he was like this time next season we was on this sort of role. I couldn't see him surviving. No. And
I think it's I think going back to how you're saying Mourinho's doing a good job and how Spurs have backed him, I think it's about around a year ago, you were very famously quoted on AFTV for saying, Spurs are everything that we should be doing, because, we acted very decisively when sacking Pochettino, bringing Mourinho in very quickly, and Arsenal kind of sacked Emre, dilly-dallied for a few weeks before selecting on Arteta. Being a year on from that moment, when that happened, do you still stand by that in terms of how Spurs have acted decisively in the summer window, and how Arsenal have kind of again waited till the deadline day to just get Partey over the line and not quite get the targets they really needed?
Yeah, the difference is, I think, is that with Tottenham is that whether you like Daniel Levy or not, that's debatable from Spurs' point of view. I've obviously got a lot of Spurs people. I know half my family Spurs, but the fact of the matter, he's there every week. He's dealing with the manager, and I think that if Spurs lose games, Daniel Levy hurts. I don't see that with Arsenal, and that's what I mean by being everything that we're not at the moment. We haven't got an owner or a chairman or whatever you want to call them that lives, breathes, and dies at Arsenal like it did in the past. So like when Arsenal lose now, I don't think it hurts Kroenke as much as say Levy. And so when it comes to doing things, like he's not as bothered. And that's where that come from. Do I think do I want Arsenal to be Spurs? No, not at all. On that part of it. But the way the club's being run from owner to manager, Tottenham are getting it right. And I know that Spurs get a lot of criticism for that, but at the end of the day, you look at it there, Tottenham at this moment in time have got a stadium that they've built, which is a lovely stadium, big. It's been going a year and a half, with no fans going in it for half of that time. Arsenal have had their stadium for 12, 14, 15, I don't know how many years it is now, and we're still not buying the players that we was promised, and that is the hurtful thing for an Arsenal fan. When you're seeing Tottenham buying players in. So we get a lot of this with the fans at the moment. I'll give Arteta 3 or 4 windows. Well. Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. But Tottenham have had one. That's where my beef is with the Arsenal board more than saying I like Tottenham the way they're doing it. It's we shouldn't be in that position. That's what I'm saying,
And do you not feel like, just like how when Spurs acted decisively a year ago by not only replacing Pochettino, one of the best managers of all time, or definitely the modern era, but with Arsenal replacing Emery, who was a very established manager at the time in the game, with a rookie manager. No, that you can't argue that he hadn't had a job in management. Should a club like Arsenal, shouldn't they be going for someone more established for the club of their size? You probably argue
that's debatable. That's an argument. You have to say what I see at that moment in time was Arsenal. Didn't matter whether you waited another week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever. Emery wasn't working. You could see that. So that Arsenal had to react. Now, for me, what gave me the ump a little bit more about Arsenal was that Tottenham were, I don't think, in a position worse than Arsenal. I think that Pochettino, I felt, if I be honest, Spurs should have given him more time, more respect. But that's a lot of the old Spurs fans, my mates and all that family, going, "Oh, look how you treated Wenger." I'll say, "Well, you just treated Pochettino just as bad."
I wouldn't agree with that. I don't think Spurs fans treated him. We didn't have banners calling Pochettino out, I can tell you that.
No. We didn't have time. You didn't have time because Spurs reacted. Whether you think it's right or wrong, they reacted and made a decision. And that's what I'm saying. Arsenal dithered over it. And they also dithered over the Emery one when you could see that it wasn't working. Now, I'm not saying that Arsenal should have gone for Pochettino because I'm not Mourinho. That's a different matter. I don't think Arsenal and Mourinho it fits anyway. You know what I mean? So whether it fits the Spurs, that remains to be seen. But what I'm saying is that Spurs, for whatever reason, there was a plan. Things weren't working out for Pochettino. There was the international break, and they done it then. Right? Arsenal waited till after the international break and then done it. You know what I mean? Like, because they dithered. And that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Because you've got whether you like Levy or not, he's got his pulse on the trigger. He's there every day. He's in the training ground. He's seeing things there. I'd imagine with the Arsenal, it's not working out too well. We better make a phone call to America. We better do this and we better do that. Dithered. Tottenham didn't. Whether it's the right decision or not, that's immaterial. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean? If you're going to sack your manager, there's always going to be a chance it's going to be right or wherever it's wrong. It's how you go about it. And Tottenham showed a mentality of we're not happy with this, despite getting him to the Champions League final the year before. There was obviously, I think that, if you be honest, that probably Pochettino had lost the dressing room a little bit. Spurs reacted on it. Arsenal dithered, and that is the problem with Arsenal at the moment because the ownership is not quite in tandem with the managing side. With Arteta coming in, listen, every manager's a gamble. You can have. We went for experience with Emery, didn't work. We went with so we've gone with the experience. Mm-hmm. You guys will know about more about that the managers with me, because you've had about 10 or 15 in the times that I've been
That's true.
supporting Arsenal. So whether they work or whether they don't, Tottenham, would say that 3 or 4 of them have not worked 100%, and then you've got ones that have, like whatever you say about Spurs, the defining moment I think is when they brought in Harry Redknapp. And it moved from there and there and there, and Arsenal, have not had a history of changing managers. We haven't. I think this is I've been supporting Arsenal since the 70s, should I say, and I think it's about the 5th or 6th manager that I've had, and 3 in the last sort of year, if you want, or 2 years. So that shows how different mentality it is. But like, if you get the right one, you're going to keep with him. It's as simple as that.
I want to ask you about the game on Sunday. Do you expect Arsenal to revert back to a back 3, which has served them a bit better under Arteta than, the back 4 has in the last few weeks? Because, the back 3, you had that in the FA Cup run against big teams playing well. And I know there was a big call from a lot of Arsenal fans to move to the back 4 because you just weren't attacking with any sort of intensity. But then you've moved to a back 4, and all of a sudden you look very open at the back, and then also you're still not attacking that well. So do you expect to move back to the back 3 on Sunday?
Yeah, definitely. Like, we're away from home. Simple as that. We play the same sort of way as we did against Man United. We played probably the same similar way against Liverpool and Man City. Not a problem. Not a problem when you go away to the teams that are up there. That's what you have to do. I don't see a problem in that. I don't see when Leicester come to us. I don't see no one criticising Leicester when they've done it. I don't see no one really criticising Spurs when they've done it last week at Chelsea. You know what I mean? That is what you've got to do. It's up to you. You're the home team. You've got to come and break us down. And that's the way I see it being. And then we've got the ammunition to hit you on the break. That's the way it should be. I think that Tottenham would do that if it was vice versa, if it was at the Emirates. And I do expect it to be a cage affair, if I'll be honest. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the one thing I've liked about Arteta is that we would have, under Wenger, we'd have come to Tottenham gun ho, going for it and playing right into Mourinho's hands, and we've done that on many and many occasions against the top sides. So this time there, you know what I mean? Let's sit back and see if you can break us down, and that's how I see it going to be. If Spurs break us down early, then the game changes, of course.
Yeah, and that's pretty much how we like to play as well, especially against the better teams. We definitely look to go early, get a goal early, and then kind of sit on it and pick teams off on the break. And that's so I think an early goal for either team is extremely vital, and it's going to be very interesting to see how the early exchanges play out. But another rumor is that Thomas Partey might be fit for Sunday. Are you hearing anything or any of the latest news that he is going to be fit?
I've heard that he's trained today. So, but listen, it's a tough call that, really. When you haven't played for 3 or 4 weeks. Do
you think you need him? Do you think you really need him on Sunday?
Well, yeah, I think we do. I think you need all your best players, whether they can. Your best midfield player plays for 60 minutes. So if Arsenal can play for 60 minutes, then like counter attack that, or even if it's on the bench, say like when he comes off after 60, we bring Partey on. That'd be all right. You know what I mean? If we're still in the game. So I think that. Listen, I think that. I don't like when we put like we've got people saying, "Oh, well, if he's fit enough for the bench, he's fit enough to start." Sometimes it's the substitutes that win you the game. So if he's on the bench tomorrow, I'll be quite pleased. It gives us a little bit of armoury there. Like if he's playing, it means that he's fit. He's a quality player, but to be honest, he's only had 3 or 4 games, so it doesn't. Yeah, it's not like a Harry Kane or someone like that has been about for a few years. So, but I would like to see him be playing. Yeah, of course. Or being.
Okay, Yeah, because I think he's a class player, and I would be a bit more worried if he is on the pitch, especially as well because there's rumours that Joe Hart might be starting, would be absolutely disastrous for us if that's true. But I want to talk. Yeah, go on.
I've heard that today. That Lloris might not be fit.
Yeah, there was rumours from a couple of well-connected Spurs reporters. Alistair Gold and Dan Kilpatrick. They're quite well connected, and they were saying yesterday that they weren't saying Lloris is ruled out, but they were saying that it was very strange phrasing because you don't hear it much. But they're saying Joe Hart is preparing to start on Sunday in case Lloris isn't fit, and apparently there's some sort of concern that Lloris might not be fit. Whether that's the club putting, because the club haven't confirmed any of it. According to the club, they haven't said anything. So
Alistair saying that, is it?
Alistair Gold, yeah, he's saying Joe Hart.
And he's got connections at Tottenham, so that'd be interesting.
That's what he's saying. Yeah, that's what he's saying. And, given Joe Hart's performance on Thursday, I tell you what, you could be having pot shots from anywhere and they have a good chance of it going in.
Yeah. Listen, I think Lloris has been very, very good this season. So in the games that I've seen. So, listen, if Joe Hart's in there, I'll be a little bit more confident, I must admit.
Yeah, that'll be a big worry. But I want to talk about Aubameyang because, with... he hasn't had a great start to the season, especially since he signed his contract. Something's gone wrong with him. And with looking at our team with Harry Kane at the moment, he's flying at the moment. Nine, becoming the assist king in the Premier League, 9 assists. It's still scoring goals. Still got 7 goals. I want to know what you think is wrong with Aubameyang and why he's not getting the goals. And do you think it's harder watching Harry Kane doing consistently well at the moment, because there was doubts about Harry Kane for the past couple of years whether he could get back to the levels he was, and he seems to be doing that. Do you think Aubameyang's in a decline or is just in a bad bit of form?
Well, I don't know. It's a baffling one, if I'll be honest. I think that people have turned around and said maybe he was promised things when he signed his new contract that didn't come in the summer, because if you think about it, going back, he sort of was saying like, it'd be nice to be playing with someone like Auba, and then that deal fell through. So maybe a few broken promises have come on part of that. Sometimes you just go through a lack of form, and you think to yourself, well, I don't know how that's happened. You look at someone like Dele Alli, who was flying a couple of seasons ago, and to drop off and you wouldn't say, well, Dele Alli's going past it. You know what I mean? He's, I think, 24. I think sometimes you just, your form just drops and you just don't know how it is. The one thing about Aubameyang is that, he is a match. He's got credit in the bank, like what he done last season, and in the cup final and the semi-final. As you well know, with the likes of Harry Kane and people like that they might have a little dip, but there's always, when they come back, they bounce back, So I'm hoping that it will be Sunday from our point of view, but I can't see it. You know what I mean? If I'll be honest, the performances have been that bad from him. I can't really say, well, when you see somebody and you think like, oh, I think he's just getting back or whatever, and I haven't seen nothing that would indicate that he's going to get, be banging in goals on Sunday. But he is a goal scorer. Goal scorers, I think that, if you want to talk about Harry Kane and Aubameyang, in my personal point of view, I think Aubameyang is probably a better goal scorer, but Harry Kane's the better footballer. So when you rely on goals as you're a goal scorer, I think Harry Kane contributes in other areas as well. So if the goals dry up for Harry Kane, he's got other parts of his game that he can still do well with. I think with Aubameyang, once the goals dry up, there's not much, more left. That's what he does. That's what he is. So, and I think, as any good goal scorer will tell you, you rely on your service. He ain't been getting nothing. So, he's got to be supplied. I think where Harry Kane doesn't have to necessarily be supplied, if you know what I mean. So, but
in this case, this season he's the supplier, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, he's changed the game slightly, but you're always, he's a good player. You know what I mean? Of course, and in these games here is a scourge to us, and so we're going to have to, mark him pretty tight tomorrow, especially when he drops into those little pockets, which he's been doing really, really well. So, as I say, a Spurs fan would be more confident, because you've got like him playing really, really well, and we've got Aubameyang playing really, really bad. So it's not a good ingredient for an Arsenal fan.
And with him, do you think with him, because last season, especially in the late run, when you beat Liverpool and the FA Cup semi-finals, you were quite heavily reliant on Aubameyang to get the goals and he was your main threat. And do you think the fact that he's captain of the team, the fact that you were so reliant on him and his form dried up has been a big contributing factor to kind of why the team is failing at the moment?
Yeah, I think it is a problem. Listen, I'll go back to in the 90s when Arsenal were winning titles and Ian Wright come along and Arsenal become too dependent on Ian Wright for his goals. It wasn't until the late 90s when Arsene Wenger came that other players come in and started scoring goals. And I think that if you're reliant on one player too much, if he doesn't do well, then the team drops. Like if you go back to when Arsenal were winning titles and things like that, we had players scoring like Henry 30 goals, blah blah blah. But you'd have Perez scoring 10, 15, Lundberg, blah blah blah. At this moment in time, that's the problem with Arsenal, is that once Aubameyang does dry up, we haven't got anything else out. We've been a little bit unlucky losing Martinelli when we did, because he's a top kid. But so when he comes back, he will contribute with goals, So, and I think that's the difference between Arsenal and Tottenham at the moment. We haven't really got that other contribution fact up front where you've got Song scoring for fun, Harry Kane. It gives you a little bit more flexibility. If one's not doing well, the other is. Where Arsenal are too reliant, and I think that's a fair comment without being critical of Arsenal, but we're too reliant on Aubameyang, and it shows. It definitely shows because he was banging in the goals last season. We was different. Now he's not. The league table don't lie, as they say.
Talking about the league table, if you're going to put money on it right now, where do you think Arsenal finish and where do you think Spurs finish?
Right now, well, listen, I can't see Arsenal getting anywhere near the top four, but the only saving grace for us is if we, a little bit like Man United last season, if we're in and around it, they bought a couple of players and it kicked it, like they bought Fernandes and look at them from there. That's what we've got to hope for. Stay in touch and then get the couple of signings that we need to boost the squad. And I don't know, but I said before the season started, we'll probably be fifth, sixth. At this moment in time, I think that's even being a little bit optimistic at the moment. So with Tottenham, I think that they've got a very, very good chance of doing really well. I think top four is definitely on for them. I think that the league season is very, very inconsistent. I think from an Arsenal point of view, thank God Liverpool are about, because things could be a little bit different if it weren't for them. So
they're about now, but they seem to be dropping like flies week by week at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't mean nothing. Do you know, I've got a sneaky feeling that another London club might win the league this season. I think that for me, Chelsea look like they've got a very, very strong squad, and I think that as soon as they've got those couple of players in, I fear it could be Chelsea doing it. You know what I mean? But
is that hope more than expectation?
Huh?
Is that hope more than expectation?
Well, I don't like Chelsea. You know what I mean? If I'll be honest, listen, like with Tottenham, if it weren't for you fans, you know what I mean, I'd have no problem with you. Like, you know what I mean? You fans that just, make Tottenham such a disliked club, you know what I mean? Because you are arrogant, you are cocky, you know what I mean? Like, and I've had all my
we've suffered enough the 90s and noughties, Lee.
I've had all my mates coming here today, like, I'm enjoying the game tomorrow, like,
It wasn't what you weren't the same when you were in the noughties. It wasn't the same with you guys.
Do you know what? You can ask my mates this. No, I never really give it. I never really give Tottenham that much stick. I bloody wish I had done now. Like, give it to me like as big as large, So, but I think that's just changed over the last few years. I think that with social media and everything like that, it's just hyped it up a little bit, like, you know.
I think there's an element to Tottenham fans that we kind of give it large. But I tell you, I don't think all Spurs fans do, but I think the few that do, I think the reason is because we had it so bad during the 90s and noughties. We've kind of established ourselves, especially the 2010s, as a pretty decent club. But I feel like there's always this fear at the back of our minds that we could always go back to this like mid-table obscurity that we were in the 90s because we were there for so long. So I think a lot of Tottenham fans kind of just want to enjoy it while it lasts, in a way, even though I'm confident we're going to be here for the long term now. I think we've proven it. But I think there is still that element of a lot of older Spurs fans anyway, who did suffer during the 90s and noughties, where at the back of our minds we're thinking, if we do finish one season 8th or 9th, that could be it for us. You know what I mean?
100%. And if it weren't Spurs fans, I'd feel sorry for you. But it must. We're going through a tough time at the moment, and it's tough. And it's tough for an Arsenal fan at this moment in time, seeing Spurs doing what they're doing. It's tough. You know what I mean? But when Arsenal were doing well, they was winning trophies and all that, it must have been a nightmare for you Spurs fans. You know what I mean? And even now, you know what I mean? It is the worst time for us. We've still won some trophies, which Spurs haven't done. I'm not saying that's, Spurs have been, pretty consistent over the last few years. And let's be honest, they've been the better side over the last few years. You can't deny that. Come above us for the last 3 seasons or 4 seasons now, whatever it is. But I think every time you've come above us, we've won a trophy. So, if that continues, then I'm happy with it. So it has been tough for Spurs fans, but they do give it large and in whatever way they want to, and that's fair enough. So, and I've had to endure. I've had to keep myself very, very quiet. You know what I mean? I had one of my Spurs mates come up to me yesterday and he said, "I hope you have a lovely Sunday." And I thought, you cocky sod, you know what I mean? Don't underestimate us, you know what I mean? So, but we'll have to take it on the chin if it comes, and we move on. But it's all banter, and that's the great thing about it. With the Arsenal Spurs, there is a lot of banter. Unfortunately, when you go to the games, there's a lot of hate now, but. I've got family in the Spurs, you know what I mean? So
and I have family who are Arsenal, so I know.
Yeah, like Christmas won't be great if Spurs have got that result, because they give it to me, you know what I mean, and rightly so.
All right, Lee, thank you for your time. Just quickly, what's your prediction for Sunday?
Well, I'm not going to predict Arsenal are going to lose, obviously, you know what I mean. But you can work out what I think. I think it'll be 1-1,
1-1. Yeah. Optimistic 1-1 draw.
Optimistic 1-1. Listen, every time even when Arsenal were great, I'd always take a home win and a draw at White Hart Lane, and that don't change now. You know what I mean? I don't think we've won it. We're certainly not one at White Hart Lane. I know it's a new ground now, but for a few years now, so
since 2014, I believe, 2014.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So we're due, but I don't think it'll be this season. I don't think we're good enough to get a win at Tottenham. You know what I mean. But we could get a draw, and to be honest, I'll take a draw now and move on. So
I think I was saying we're due a win at Highbury for a good 20-odd years, to be honest. But
yeah,
until we won it.
That's when people say, "Oh, form don't matter in that thing." It's a load of old rubbish, because if that's the case, then Arsenal would have, Tottenham would have won a lot more times at the Emirates. And vice versa. So when people turn around me and go, "Well, form goes out the window," does it help?
It doesn't.
It help? You know what I mean? The best team normally win, but I can tell you this now, and from experience, Spurs have given some bloody tough games when you've been a real poor side. So don't think. And that's why I always, I remember in '91 when we was going for the double, we lost one game all season. We went to the Wembley, the first time at Wembley, and I just was arrogant, like a lot of your Tottenham mates are. Yeah, there's no way we can lose this game. You know what I mean? Like, look at us. We've got this player, and we had players at that moment in time on real form. I've learned my lesson, because that bloody game hurt. And from that day on there, I never took an Arsenal Spurs game for granted. And that's why I never really like them, because they're not enjoyable games, because there's so much on it from from a fan's point of view, and I know that's changed now with the players and everything like that. But like if Arsenal lose to Chelsea, it's hard, it's tough, it's like losing to anybody. But when you lose to Spurs, you're going to get stick from people. You know what I mean?
A long time.
Yeah. So that's why I don't like those games. But there were times when the rivalry between Arsenal and Man United was more intense. But you'd rather lose to Man United than Tottenham. You know what I mean? So that's how it was.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be definitely a stressful game on Sunday, that's for sure. I'm not going to be able to enjoy watching that. But hopefully, if we do come away with 3 points, I predicted in my preview, I said 3-1 Tottenham. I've got no doubt about it. I think Arsenal are going to turn up on Sunday and they'll have their best performance of the season. I've got no doubt about it in my mind. However poor they've been, Arteta's going to make sure they show up. But I'm just confident that Jose Mourinho isn't going to let us underestimate Arsenal. Doesn't matter where you are in the league at the moment. He's not going to let us underestimate you, and he's going to know that you're going to come up with a big performance. So I'm confident that we should have a plan for you guys. And I'm confident we're going to come away with the win. But obviously, it's a game of football, and you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. May the best team win.
Well, for sure, let the best team win.
Oh, I'll tell you what, how many Spurs fans have said that to me over the last few years. You wouldn't believe that.
Brilliant. Lee, though, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for giving your time. Thanks for coming on the channel. Been much appreciated. Where can people find you? You're going to plug yourself?
Oh, not on the Spurs channel. I won't.
All right, you don't want to say that.
I've had enough stick off you lot over the last few weeks.
Fair play. It's probably the smart of it.
So, be the folks.
I can assure you, if Spurs do end up winning, there will be a lot of views on AFTV, and I'm sure you will definitely be on there after the game. So go check out that. But Lee, thank you for coming on, and good luck for Sunday.
No worries. You too.
Cheers.
Take care.